Nerd Morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and today on the Nerd Morning Show, we're going to be talking about Mitosis, which is a part of the Reckoner series. It is a side story that is not necessarily part of the trilogy. It is a mini story that is essentially the Reckoners 1.5. And this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler discussion, so if you haven't read it, I would invite you to go check it out and then come back here. If you're ready for spoilers and to talk about this openly, then let's get going. So this is like a lot of fun. I think that this was a book that did a lot of really good work, but it honestly isn't necessarily an essential part of the story, and I think that's okay because it is this side experience. But we get to have David Charleston, who we get to see him growing from the eager boy who had all of these desires to take down Steelheart to a point where he's going to grow and evolve and change and be someone who is wanting to work with people who are epics, as well as maybe save epics or defeat them all. And this is like the growth and the transformation that we want and need for his character. But between book 1 and 2, we have a pretty big jump, and here we get to have some of that explored, and that is really helpful and useful and part of what they do with Mitosis. Also, we get to see what Newcago is like post Steelheart, and this was really good because we also don't get to spend too much time in Newcago after they win. They're going to go off and head to a new city inside of book 2, and they just move on from there. And that was worthwhile. It was good. But also, David Charleston has always lived inside of Newcago. This is what he intended to be doing, was to be there and to stay. And getting him ready to be able to make that transition was really helpful. And part of that was being able to see how Newcago could live without their new heroes. And that was something that we got to see inside of Mitosis. So we have Mitosis, who is the villain and also the title character for the story, and he is an individual who can multiply himself and have multiple versions of him. And this is, a pretty common type of character power. I've seen this in Marvel comics and in DC comics and different things like that, and they did it in an interesting and unique way here. I think that Brandon Sanderson did a great job with this power. And they had him as the antagonist that David Charleston has to fight. And he has his reckless gung-ho attitude. And ultimately, he cannot do it himself. And that's where we get to see an example of the people inside of Newcago choosing to fight back. And this was great because if we have all of these different people teamed together to fight great odds, then they can stand a chance against people who are epics. And this is a thing that Newcago needed in order to be able to move on beyond the Reckoners. And this was the most, I think, important thing that this story does. I really liked this story. I think it had some fun, playful moments. The bit with the hot dogs was really great. Seeing how the Reckoners have become famous, and also how they're essentially leaders inside of the Newcago government, even though they're trying really hard not to lead Newcago, and how that relationship is really working. All the things that are really good. Ultimately, you don't have to read this story in order to be able to get a good experience of the Reckoner series, but if you enjoy the Reckoner series and are wanting a more full experience, this is a must read. So depends on how deep you want to get into this world that we have with the Reckoners. Hopefully this video was helpful and fun for you. If you guys have thoughts or ideas about this book, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me on my other social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch at Nerd Morning. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.